This slide illustrates the extraordinary intellectual breadth of Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, the last true polymath. It highlights his revolutionary contributions across literature, science, and statecraft. Key data points emphasize his 50-year masterpiece, Faust, his defiant theory of colors, and his pivotal role as a Weimar minister. The message is clear: Goethe's legacy transcends poetry, embodying a lifelong pursuit of universal knowledge. This synopsis captures his transition from a Sturm-und-Drang rebel to a pillar of Weimar classicism, cementing his status as a foundational figure of modern Western culture. We here examine Goethe's profound scientific legacy, specifically his challenge to Newtonian physics. The core message focuses on his theory of colors, where he prioritized human perception over mathematical abstraction. Key data points highlight his UR phenomenon concept and his botanical discovery of the intermaxillary bone, proving human-animal anatomical links. This narrative asserts that Goethe wasn't just a poet playing with glass, he was a rigorous phenomenologist. His holistic approach bridged the gap between objective observation and subjective experience, laying the groundwork for modern morphology and ecological thought. Goethe's journey to his 1810 theory of colors began in the formative cities of his youth. Born in Frankfurt, 1749, his intellectual foundations were laid during law studies in Leipzig, where he first engaged with Enlightenment science. However, it was in Strasbourg, 1770, that his perspective shifted toward the organic and subjective, influenced by Gothic architecture and Herder. This slide represents the culmination of that geographical and mental map. A transition from a student in Strasbourg to a master polymath in Weimar, challenging objective physics with human-centered perception. This slide explores the revolutionary impact of Goethe's literary debut, The Sorrows of Young Werther. The core message highlights how this single novel sparked a global cultural phenomenon and defined the Sturm-und-Drang movement. Key data points focus on the Werther fever that swept Europe, the controversial, copycat, social impact, and the birth of modern psychological fiction. The narrative emphasizes Goethe's ability to capture the raw, subjective experience of youth, fundamentally altering the relationship between author, text, and audience forever. This slide highlights the intersection of Goethe's academic foundations and his rigorous administrative career. While his law studies in Leipzig and Strasbourg prepared him for the bar, they ultimately served a greater purpose in the Duchy of Weimar. Beyond his 1774 literary success, Goethe transitioned into a powerful statesman, managing everything from mining and road construction to War Department finances. This synopsis underscores a unique duality. The disciplined administrator who governed a state by day, while simultaneously pioneering the Sturm-und-Drang movement that would forever transform global literature. Before 1786, Goethe was intellectually constrained by Weimar's provincialism and the Gothic, northern gloom. His descent into Italy and Sicily triggered a radical pivot toward classical clarity. Inspired by the symmetry of Greco-Roman architecture in Vicenza and Sicily, he sought a corresponding, architectural, order in nature. This slide represents that transformation, the shift from erratic emotion to the structured laws of morphology. By viewing the plant through the lens of classical harmony, Goethe evolved from a romantic poet into a world-class scientist who saw nature as a living, balanced masterpiece. This slide illustrates the critical pivot from the Sturm-und-Drang era to the refined era of Weimar classicism. After years of emotional turbulence and the radical subjectivity of his youth, Goethe sought a new, disciplined harmony. Following his return from Italy, he abandoned storm and stress for a classical ideal that valued restraint, balance, and objective beauty. This narrative highlights his partnership with Schiller, through which he transformed German culture from raw, unbridled passion into a sophisticated, unified aesthetic that sought to educate the human spirit through order. This slide represents the culmination of a legacy deeply shaped by Goethe's profound intellectual alliance with Friedrich Schiller. While Faust, Part 2 was completed in Goethe's final years, its philosophical depth was forged during their Balladenger and the height of Weimar classicism. Schiller's encouragement pushed Goethe to return to this fragmented manuscript, transforming it from a folk tragedy into a cosmic epic. Their relationship provided the creative friction necessary to bridge youthful passion with mature wisdom, ensuring that Goethe's ultimate masterpiece became a testament to their shared belief in the transformative power of art. This slide celebrates Goethe's legacy as a pioneer of the life sciences. Beyond his literary fame, his empirical work in anatomy led to the landmark discovery of the human intermaxillary bone, proving a biological link between humans and animals. In botany, his 1790 treatise transformed the field by identifying the leaf as the primal organ of all vegetation. These scientific milestones illustrate a world-class polymath who decoded the physical laws of nature, showing that the same striving found in his poetry fueled his revolutionary understanding of organic life. This slide represents the definitive resolution of Goethe's lifelong war on optics against Isaac Newton. While Newton treated light as a mathematical abstraction of particles, Goethe championed a human-centered, physiological reality. He died in 1832, still insisting that color is a subjective struggle between light and darkness, a deed of light. This narrative underscores a world-class scientist who refused to let cold equations erase the human eye. His final plea for more light remains the ultimate victory for a polymath who spent decades defending the lived experience of the natural world. This slide captures Goethe's transition from a literary revolutionary to a titan of the European Enlightenment. A pivotal moment featured is his 1808 meeting with Napoleon Bonaparte in Erfurt. This encounter of two worlds saw the emperor famously declare, "Voilà un homme!" recognizing Goethe not just as a poet, but as a statesman of intellect. This meeting symbolizes the intersection of political power and cultural genius. Goethe's ability to engage the conqueror of Europe underscores his unique status as a global polymath who transcended national borders and disciplines. This slide highlights Goethe's revolutionary concept of Weltliteratur, or world literature. While the visual details his theory of colors, it underscores his broader intellectual mission, transcending national boundaries. Goethe argued that literature should function as a common pool for humanity, fostering mutual understanding between cultures. By engaging with Persian, Chinese, and Serbian works, he sought a global dialogue that mirrored his scientific holism. This narrative positions Goethe not just as a German icon, but as the architect of a unified global cultural heritage that remains essential in our interconnected age. This slide culminates in Goethe's ultimate masterpiece, Faust, a work 60 years in the making. It captures the essence of the Faustian bargain, the relentless, modern drive for knowledge and experience at any cost. By tracing Faust's journey from intellectual despair to ultimate striving, the visual illustrates Goethe's belief that salvation lies in perpetual activity. This epic poem serves as the synthesis of his life's work, bridging the gap between classical wisdom and romantic longing. Faust remains the definitive exploration of the human soul's limitless potential and its inherent risks. This slide celebrates Goethe's visionary contributions to biology, specifically his concept of metamorphosis. By studying the plant, he argued that all botanical forms are variations of a single underlying organ, the leaf. This revolutionary insight shifted science from static classification to a dynamic understanding of organic growth and transformation. Goethe viewed nature as an interconnected, living whole in a constant state of becoming. His morphological studies prove that his genius was not merely literary but deeply rooted in the rhythmic, evolving patterns of life itself. He remains nature's most profound translator. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe embodies the quintessential polymath, bridging the gap between Enlightenment reason and romantic emotion. This slide highlights his monumental influence as a poet, playwright, and novelist who redefined German literature with Faust and the Sorrows of Young Werther. Beyond the arts, his rigorous botanical research and theory of colors demonstrate a profound scientific commitment. As a statesman in Weimar, he effectively integrated administrative duty with intellectual mastery. Goethe's life serves as a definitive case study in multidisciplinary excellence and the pursuit of a unified understanding of nature and humanity.